On base. Excuse me. Well, let's take it from where we got up to yesterday, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th line down. Kalosas Rabbi Shmuel. The Dorla Rabbi Shmuel Miano. She repudiated marriage, even though her son was on her shoulder, meaning she was already obviously an adult. She had a kid at that time, or we assume she was an adult. But it's Chizkiah b'Shei Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shmuel Amru Davar Echad. So Rabbi Chizkiah named Rabbi Vo and Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shmuel, they all said the same thing. What's that? Tani, we learned Arei Mosai Habas Mimaines. To what age can a daughter repudiate a marriage? Ad Shetavi Shtei Saros. So until she has 2 hairs, which is right around 12 years old. Divrei Meir, it's her Meir's opinion. Rabbi Omer Ad Sheyar Be'ashachor, until she has more dark than light, meaning that the area around around her private parts is already more dark with black hair, than white with flesh. Rabbi Shimon Omer Ad Shetispashit Akaf, until the black, it's not just a majority, but it extends beyond the kind of to the top of where she has an opening down there. She's on top of that. It extends beyond it. I'm not sure exactly what the kaf means, but I assume it's like a letter kaf inverted. In other words, it goes around the entire area. Okay, something like that. So Rabbi Zira, Rabbi Chiya, B'Shem Hashem, and Lager said, and even more than that, you needed to surround, envelop the entire area. It should be more dark than white. So you associate that's the outer limits as to when you can do mute. Okay? Rabbi Von Rabbi Yersha said, Halach Rabbi Yehuda, that it's until you have more black than white. Rabbi Yerushalmi Yevamos, Rabbi Yehuda also, that still you have more dark than white. Asa Uvda Kum Rabbi Asa, case came in front of Rabbi Asa, Omar, and he said, I don't have a heter for me when she raises an adult when she has 2 hairs. However, you guys go, Azun Gabi Rabbi Avo, go to, skip. Yeah, Azun Gabi Avo. Kora Avo, Isai Ufa, and he has a tradition, like Krabiuda, Dalos, or Krabiuda. On a list on Ufa, we don't have such a tradition. Rabbi China Mara Krabiuda as well, which means it's a little bit older than 12. Rabbi Yochanan said to the people in Tzipori, you guys want to say name Rabbi China Dalos Rabbi Yehuda? The lazy came. It's not true. Allah is like Rabbi Yehuda. Ma'ikaduns, what's the conclusion of this? Chevraya, B'Shem, Rabbi Chanina said, the group said in the name Rabbi Chanina, Mod Rabbi Yehuda Shim Niva Lo Mishavir Shtei Saros. Rabbi Yehuda conceives that if she had relations with her husband after she had got 2 hairs, that Eina Sheni Cholamayit, she can no longer do miyur. Al Daiti to Rabbi Zira. Now that's Rabbi Zira Rabbi Chanina said. Rabbi Zira said, Mod Rabbi Zira Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda could teach him that she had a marriage after she got 2 hairs, that she cannot do miyur. Now that's a very basic difference. There are 2 different opinions here. One is that after she has relations once with her husband, after she becomes an adult, she can't do miyur. The other is if she had a second marriage performed with her husband after she became an adult, then she can't get miyur. She can't do miyur anymore. Right?
So it's not an age, it's a more physical maturity.
It's not physical maturity, has to do with renewing the state of marriage after she's an adult. It's not necessarily even maturity according to this, but renewing the state of marriage either by new relations or by having a new marriage ceremony. Okay? So at that point, miyur can no longer be done. So, it says here, Al Daitin the Chavraya, Al Daitin Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Ziru said that if she has a marriage performed once she gets 2 hairs, then she can no longer do miyun, right? But if the marriage was before she was old, which of course, and then she had relations even after she got 2 hairs, since the new marriage is not performed, she can still do miyun. Nicha, according to him, and so we understand how Rabbi Shmuel's daughter could have a child on her shoulder and still do miyun, because it means that even if you had she had relations after she became an adult, as long as she didn't have a second marriage ceremony, she could still repudiate the original marriage. So she could have given birth and still repudiate the marriage anyway, right? However, I'll die to the Chavraya, but according to the Chabura, who said, who said, once there's Bia, once she had relations with Mishev, so the time she's an adult, she can no longer do miyun. So the only time you do miyun is if you had all your relations before you got to have 2 hairs, right? When you're still a minor. Well, if that's the case, how could Rabbi Shmuel's daughter still been alive in order to do miyun? In other words, it means she wasn't given birth when she was a ketana, when she was a minor, and there's no such thing. The daughter of Rabbi Shmuel, Amos Ibra V'Olda, when did she get pregnant and give birth? Actually, V'Yishtei Saros, you want to say it's before she had 2 hairs, and that's why she could do miyun even after she got 2 hairs and had a kid on her shoulder, because she didn't have any bia, she didn't have any relations after she became an adult. So it says the Gemara, under such circumstances does she survive? Lo Kain Amar Rabbi Difa. Then Rabbi Diva saying Rabbi Yonah say name Rabbi Elo, excuse me. The next word Isa is superfluous. Ibra v'yoda shloivia shtei. So if a woman gets pregnant and gives birth before she has 2 heirs, he ubna mesim. She and the kid, they both died because they're not viable. Mishavia shtei saros, if she already got 2 heirs, he ubna mesim chaim. Then they can both survive. Now, Mishavia shtei Ibra shloivia shtei saros. She get pregnant before growing 2 hairs. The Yoda Mishavir Shtei Saros and gave birth after giving 2 hairs. He chayob no meso. She could survive, but her kid will die. So that's the case. The question is, where do we have a case where Rabbi Shmuel's daughter-in-law could come with a kid on her back and still do miyun, right? In order for the kid to be viable, the bia must have been done after she was an adult. If the bia is done after she is an adult, that she no longer had the right to be memayin anymore. So it says Gemara, Maikadun, how should we conclude this? So it says Rabbi Shmuel holds it's a bar, which is rather than it should be Kir Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Shmuel holds like Rabbi Yehuda Ad Shi'arba Shachar, that you should still do miyun until the majority of the area is dark. So therefore she can still do miyun even if she has a kid, because she has a kid, or she might have a kid right when she became an adult, and later on she gets the Yarba Shachar Aloha. Okay? Till she has more black than white. Now, says Gemara, nevertheless, Rabbi Shimon, one second. Yeah, and he also has all like Rabbi Shimon, that al Tanai Kiddusha Rishon Boa. One second. I've ever been shooting before. Okay, I'm making a mistake. It's the way it is like this. Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Yehuda, Shiar Shachar, Rabbi Shmuel Elos, or Rabbi Yehuda, that you can do mean until the black part expands, or he holds like Rabbi Shimon, who says Achit Ispashit Akaf, which means until there's even more growth there. So those are one of those two. Or one of those two Tanoim. Now says the Gemara, Al Tnai Kedusha Rishonim Ba. And furthermore, whatever relations they have relations until their relations are on the condition of the first marriage. Because again, in order to be able to have a viable child and survive, the bia has to take place after she became an adult. So if the bia took place after she became an adult, so she already is out of milk. Right? So that's what we say. It's going to Rabbi Shimon that until such time as he actually is like Rabbi Shimon, that even according to Rabbi Shimon, well, according to both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, who say that the bia when she's an adult, we have to say that even though there's the bia after she was an adult, the bia was out tonight Kedushin Rishonim. So until he actually does an act of marriage by giving her a ring or something like that, all the bias he did before that, they're not bias nuls, they're not licentious because they were done in the context of rabbinic marriage. But they're all done with the intent of the first marriage, and therefore even if after she's bas mitzvah, so these bios are still being done on the intent of the first marriage, now in the intent of effecting a new kiddushin. So that's why she still remains b'kudeshes to Rabbana.
But the fact that she has a child from the first kiddushin, then she can still do it. Right. She didn't have a second kiddushin.
Right. Even if she has a second child. Well, I guess you can't squeeze that into the amount of time, right? Okay, so name it. So it says the Gemara, Al Daite Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, don't really see money matter over totally. According to Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, it has to do with simonim, with pure age. Al Daite Rabbi Shimon, according to Rabbi Shimon, do Amar Shiyoytz Makin Acher. You have to add another kinyan. So if that's the case, as long as he never made another kiddushin, he should be continuously be able to be mine, even when she's 47. Right? Says more now. It does make sense. Or maybe it says Vikani, it's not true. Why can't she do miyun anymore after she is fully matured physically? So daughters of Israel should not be licentious because they'll always have their marriages retroactively revoked, right? If they were married off by the brother or sister. So if we made a cutoff age at the age of bas mitzvah or bar mitzvah. Says Asya Uvda. A case came from Rabbi Yossi for Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Rabbi Yossi said he batku dadeh. To see if she's too old to do meal, let's check how developed her breasts are. So says the Gemara. Now the Gemara, let's skip down a couple lines and come back. Let's cut and paste here. The Shaitar Tzitro does this. They're going to the fifth line. First word of line.
That's really irrelevant. I mean, we haven't been talking about it.
It's going to click on that. Didn't Rabbi Yochanan say Rabbi Yochanan don't do a Maisa to determine what her status is until we check her private parts? You know, what does her dadim have to do with it? So other Tamer Rabbi Sochazman. That's only if we're not sure if we reach 12 and a half yet. So then we have to check her private parts to see where she's holding, right? However, but after time is over, you don't have to check down below. In other words, if you could tell, if you look at her breasts and they see they're fully formed, they know she's already past 12 and a half and she can't be in mine anymore. I think it's more for sneeze. I think it's a better place to look. I mean, neither of them are great, but it's a better place to look in order to check if she's an adult or not. Okay, it says, going back to what we skipped, Vudan Rabbi Shuv and Levi. And it's like Rabbi Shuv and Levi, who said, there's no gap between the days in which she's a Nara and they which she's a Bulgar, only 6 months. And therefore, these 6 months are determined by the growth of her body, and you can tell that her body's grown into womanhood already by looking at other parts as well. Says, however, in our case over here means that in the case of Simonim down below, right? we're checking her down below, and we're checking her during the time period, before she reaches 12 and a half, right? Here, and here, if I'm not sure if the majority is black or not, Kikufo, Kofo, I need to take it. I require him to give a get because I'm not sure if there's a necessity to do Yibum Chalitza or not. So in that we give a get, right? Rabba Shachar and will give a get. If the majority is black, they do not have to give a get. Why is that? Because then it's clear that she's beyond the parsha, the tzara is beyond the parsha of Yibum in that case. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Remember, we're talking about co-wives here. We're talking about co-wives, right? And that the one who's an erva should be able to make the co-wife muteres b'yibum because she'll renounce her marriage, she'll repudiate. She's a young girl, she can still repudiate her marriage, right? So that's why you can't do that. Because, well, you can. But what we're saying is that if in doubt or not, so then we don't know if she can repudiate her marriage or not. So that's why she needs both chalitza and a get. What? It's alright. Well, either or. Wants to do chalitza to one of them that suffices. The first wife is Erva. She's the one we're talking, and the second wife we want to be Miyabit. So when the first wife is a complete Erva, we can't do Yibum, right? So the first wife is a chveis. Well, they're not related. Not related. You can do Yibum anyone you want, right? So let's say in this case you had a case where you're not sure if this woman is Kindumian or not, but you didn't mean it, right? So in that case it's a suffix. What are you supposed to do? I blundered. Not a big one, but we're not talking about Yevamos here. We're talking about the husband of such a woman. What he has to do in order to divorce her.
Isn't she doing me?
But the thing is, her meal might not be valid because we don't know. Maybe her blood, she has more black than white. So what does he have to do in that case? Can't take her back because she was Mamayan already. What does he have to do? Give her a get. That's what it says here, right? Savi Rav Shachar, Savi Lo Rav Shachar. Kofu Anili think are required to give a get. Rav Shachar definitely has a majority of black hair, meaning that the kid is definitely adult at this time. So ain't no beget. He doesn't have to touch the get, not because her meal works, on the contrary, because her meal definitely doesn't work, right? If her meal works Misafik, then Misafik has to give a get. But her meal doesn't work at all, so then he doesn't have to give a get at all either. She's stuck, right? Okay? Says the Gemara further, the Mishnah further. How do all these women exempt their tzoros? So the first Mishnah. If his daughter or anyone of these riots was is married to his brother, Al-Shani, the second one, because first already died, and now one of the let's show you the case. It's not as hard as it looks. Reuben had a daughter, Rachel, right? So Rachel was married to her uncle Shimon. So was Leah, right? So now Shimon died. Rachel is forbidden because she's a daughter, but Leah is also forbidden. So to Reuben, but Leah can go and marry another brother. Leah can go and marry another brother, Levi, right? So now, when Levi dies, now it's Leah also, because she was once a Torah of Shimon's daughter, and now she's a Torah of a Torah, and that's sufficient, right? That she's exempt from Yibum, right? And if then Dinah, who was exempt from Yibum vis-a-vis Reuven, when it was Misyabemes by Yehuda, and then Yehuda dies, so then Dinah is forbidden because she was once a Tzoras Bito, Kohaiv's daughter, and Tamar Nuhaib is guilty by association, can't marry Reuven either. Is that all clear? Okay. Rachel was Reuven's daughter. Rachel went and married her uncle Shimon. Shimon had a co-wife Leah. Shimon dies. Rachel can't marry Reuven because she's the father, right? Leah can't marry Reuven because Leah is a co-wife to Rachel. Okay, but Leah can still go and do even to another brother, Levi. So could Rachel for that matter, right? But the Kiddush is that even that now when Levi dies, Leah, even though she's not directly associated to Reuven, but since she once was a co-wife with Rachel, she offers her own co-wife as well, not just herself, right? And the same thing down the line, right? But that's only vis-a-vis Reuven, not vis-a-vis Yehuda. Let's say Levi dies, so then either the Dinah or Leah can go marry Yehuda, right? But if the one who if then Yehuda dies, so then in this case, who was it? Dinah still remains also, right? But Tamar also comes also because she's the co-wife of somebody who was once a Torah.
Always the next co-wife that's eligible to marry the brother, but not the previous co-wife.
Right.
It always goes down the line.
Torah always progresses, right? Okay? That's what happens. So in any event, so it says the Mishnah further, was married to a brother. The law Yisha Acheres, and he has another wife. Mesa Bito and his Garsha. If his daughter dies or gets divorced, Chakach Meitzachim, and his brother dies, Taras Muteris, and the Torah is permissible. Any woman who could repeat a marriage and did not, Taras Choletzes, so Mishabemes, so Torah does Chalitza, not evil, because they don't know if the mitzvah applies or not. Because there's something, whether he did the mitzvah ready or not. Says Mishnah further. No Gemara, right. The thing is, I actually looked at the wrong. I misread the last line. I'm sorry. He said, in which case the Torah is permissible. If his daughter or any one of these Arayas is married to his brother, that is the case like this. Shimon's daughter Rachel married Reuven. Before Reuven died, Rachel died. Rachel, Shimon's daughter. So now, since at the time Reuben's death, his only wife is Leah, was not related to Shimon, Shimon can do evil mom Leah. Okay? That's it said. If they die, to say Mutoros.
Even though Leah, they were Tzoros.
Yeah, but not.
So why is she?
Because at the time Reuben's death, they were no longer Tzoros. Because they had already predeceased Reuben. Okay? So based on time, it may so hate or same with Torah. So go, but Bito Archka Arias Leilu, if his daughter, anyone of these Arias, was the Sulach who was married to his brother, the Lo Isha Cheres, and he had another wife. Mesa Bito and his Garshav, his daughter died or was divorced. V'chakach Meisachim, and then his brother died. So Rasa Muteris, the Torah is permissible. The Choli Chola Mayim V'Lo Mirna, any woman who could have done Mirna did not. Since Mian is only the Rabbanan thing, the Omer is only the Rabbanan, so the other Torah she can't be Misyabemet because it's the Rabbanan, but she can't go free either, so therefore she has to do Chalitza. Okay? Says our Kini Masi, so this is the way to read our Mishnah. Any woman who could have done Miyun and did not, Umesa Tarasa, and Umesa and she died, Tarasa Umesa and she died, Tarasa Choletzes Lo Misyabemes. But Torah gets Chalitza, not evil. Why do we say she died? And that's what he's adding on to the Mishnah. I know we have to change it to woman died. I think you're trying to say even. That's, what it means is like this. No, how can that mean that? One second.
The case of the Mishnah, she's still alive.
Yeah, but now we change it to death.
So she's still alive.
Yeah.
And then the husband dies.
No, it says the Mishnah makes a bito in Niskarshov. His daughter dies or divorces. So the Torah is muteris to the Yava. Yeah, I know why. I'm not sure why. I'm trying to figure out.
You might think the case in the Mishnah was that you didn't die.
What difference does it make? I guess the Kiddush is like this. But I might say that after this girl died without having the miyun, I should retroactively cancel her marriage and let the Torah be Misyabemes, because her marriage is only D'Rabbanan anyway. So I would say no, we give the status of already significant marriage. Therefore, even if the Torah was the ever died, the other Torah cannot marry the Yavam, as she has to dafka get Chalitza. Okay? Still not good. She died. I don't know. Seems like an arbitrary change. I can't figure out why it's changed. Let's go on. Shesharayas Chamurus Meil. The Kormei seems to say that it was done just for symmetry, like you said, because all the other women in the Mishnah died, so let's kill her too. Okay. Shesharayas Chamurus Meil. There's 6 rayas which are more severe than these. That even they're married to other people, because they're married to other people, their Torahs are permissible. Imo, meaning if any of these arayas was the second wife of a man, not related to you at all, right? And then the man died, you can marry the first wife, even though the second wife is also. But that's only a problem in the case of evil, not in any other case in Torah, right? If there are two wives, for example, the first case he gives is if your mother, Reuven's mother Rachel, was married to Nachshon, and Nachshon had another wife, Chana. So of course Reuven and Rachel can't get married, right? Because Rachel is Reuven's mother. But Chana and Reuven can get married. Even though this is the Yibum situation, there was not be permissible. It wouldn't work necessarily the same way. But in the case of stability of marriage, so this marriage will be permissible. Okay? So, and the Gemara is going to talk about vis-a-vis Yibum. So what are these 6 relations? Imo, your mother, Eishes Aviv, your father's wife, Vachos Aviv, and your father's sister, Achos Aviv, your sister from your father, Eishes Achiv, and your brother's wife, Me'aviv, from your father's side, Eishes Achi Aviv, and your grandfather's wife. These are all considered to be the 6 severe arayas. So it should be inu chamurus. What is their severity? The rights mentioned first Mishnah are koreis as much as these, right? The mamzer's cases are the same in both. Ma chamurus, so are they more severe? These 6 women enumerated in our Mishnah, they cannot marry the 2 brothers unless an aver is going to be committed. But there's no scenario in which any of these people can marry 2 brothers and not commit an avera in the course of it, and therefore we didn't want to bring that as a case which, well, that's why it's severity. There was the 15 women in the first Mishnah can marry a brother. But these 6 women can't marry a brother. Because by definition, they're out of the womb. Okay? I'm not making myself clear, am I? No. I'm not making myself clear. Again, in this case, this is for the first sample case. Rachel and Chana are tzaras, right? They're married to Nachshon, who dies. It's inconceivable that Nachshon could be Reuven's brother. Because if Reuven was Nachshon's brother, then Rachel and Chana cannot be both co-wives. Why is that? Yeah, because then Rachel's either going to be Nachshon's mother then, or Nachshon's stepmother, and he's forbidden to marry her. Is Reuven's mother. So, right. So if Nachshon were Reuven's brother, there'd be no permissible way for Nachshon to marry Rachel. Right, that's the point the Gemara is making. Right? That these 6 arayas mentioned here in our Mishnah, from here on in the next 6, there's no conceivable case in which you can put them together as being married to 2 brothers. As opposed to the 50 arayas in the first Mishnah, it was conceivable to put them together as being married to 2 brothers.
But you don't have 2 brothers. You have a father and you have a stepson.
He's a stranger altogether.
Right, because a stranger.
Yeah.
Certainly not a brother.
Right. That's exactly the case. That's why these are... No, that's exactly the case. I'm not going to... See, that's what it says. Look at the last line where you can't have saying which these arayas would marry a brother of somebody to whom they're arayas, unless it involves some avera. Not making sense? Well, you just say yourself. They can't marry, wouldn't be able to marry two brothers. That's all I'm saying. That's why they're chomer. But certain rights which you conceive of them being married to your brother. This is the first 15 in our Mishnah. But the last 6 over here, you can't conceive them being married to your brother. That's the severity. That there's no way these go. There are rights to you. They can't be married to your brother. Suppose the first 15, which are more situational. Okay. So it says in Marvatani, we learned. Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Chia said, in all these cases, if they can marry a brother without an Aveira, so the same towards Mina Chalitza Ibn, then the Tsars, the co-wives in such cases are exempt from Chalitza Ibn. But these cannot marry two brothers without an Aveira ensuing. Rabbi Chia said, Ein Tzara Ela Me'ach Bilvad. You know what? The whole concept of Torah only exists if it's your brother's wife. It's an interesting concept. Only your sister-in-law is a tzara. If somebody else has two wives other than your brother-in-law, so we don't call it a tzara. Okay? So, Amar Rabbi Yosef said, Masis Omar Kain? Our Mishnah seems to say that. It says, Inei Shehei Nesuos La'acherim Tzarosei Mutaros. It says, since they are married to others, their tzoras are mutter. I forgot what his proof is. Yeah, our Mishnah says that But sorry, Rabbi Yosef Sisa Amar Kain. The nation, our Mishnah indicates this. Nation Nesuas La'acherim Tzarosei Mutaros. When the married to brothers, the Tzoros are mutter. So it sounds like the whole operating concept of Torah only comes up when you have two brothers married to people, and there's a levirate marriage, a Yibum issue. Otherwise, there's no concept of Tzoros. Okay, it says Nation Nesuas La'acherim. Since they're married to other people, Tzarosei Mutaros, so no Tzoros. There's no problem with co-wives. There's only problem with co-wives when you have two wives married to a brother of the person in question. Okay? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yirmiyah boy. Rabbi Yirmiyah asks a question. Utei tzora min hashuk. Somebody who has two wives, and one of them is Nerva, yeah, somebody has two wives. By the way, I apologize for being so tired tonight. I don't have no idea what's happened to me. I think I'm demoralized because it was very. I thought thought more people would show up tonight. Otherwise, I'd probably be more awake. But somewhat demoralizing. You want to sit in a few minutes to Yerushalmi Vino for old time's sake? There's Yerushalmi on the shelf. It'll help me wake up. They're back there, back on the shelf. Ashkacha brothers. We're on Zayin base in Yevamos. Yevamos Zayin base. Okay. Rabbi Yirmiyah boy, we're in the fifth line down. Rabbi Yirmiyah asks a question. Utei tzara min hashuk. Until now we've been saying, the tzara is a co-wife, right? It was a tzara. So it says, so the Gemara stated principle, Rabbi Chia said, there's no discussion of tzara, meaning a co-wife who's forbidden to undergo yibum except by brothers, by the area of yibum itself. In other words, if Reuven has two wives, one of which is also to Shimon and one of which is permitted to Shimon because of Erva, and Reuven dies, So just like the tzara is possible, one kohav is also the other kohav is possible. Rabbi Yirmi asked, let there be a tzara min hashuk. Meaning, if Reuven and Shimon are not brothers, but Shimon has two wives, one of which is also to Reuven, who's not his brother, and the other is mutter to Reuven, who's not his brother, and then Shimon dies, let's say tzaras as well. So it's, how do you know that tzaras is a limited concept to Ereva, to Yibum? That where you have two brothers, one of which is married to two wives, and one of which is Aser, and he dies, that the brother cannot take either one. How do you know it's only Yibum? Maybe it's in any case. If you have two wives, and I can't marry one of them, and then you die, so maybe I can't marry either one of your wives.
What difference does it make that it should be a concept anywhere else?
What?
What difference does it make?
Because Rabbi Yirmi is by the truth is the Gemara doesn't explain, but the Korban Ada explains it pretty nice. It says there's a part that says a cryptic passage. It says Yishalach osa lo sikach litzror legalos arvosa, but rather a sister in the feminist sense. In other words, when you have two wives who are sisters to each other, meaning they are, in a sisterhood relationship, so then they should be tsaros, and if one is us, the other should be us as well. That's Rabbi Yirmi's question. Okay? So Rabbi Yirmi, boy...
That's the concept by elsewhere, that if one of the tsaros is us, or the other one should also be us or too.
Right. That's Rabbi Yirmi's question. Rabbi Yirmi, boy, v'teit tzarmin ashuk. On Rabbi Yossi, Lo Shmir Rabbi Yirmi. Rabbi Yirmi did not hear harder the time Rabbi Chia, that which Rabbi Chia said that there's no tzara except from in case of two brothers. And Lo Shmir Masnisa, he didn't hear our Mishnah either. Mishnah said Neshei Nesuas La'achem Tzarasei Mutaros. Whenever they're married to other people other than her brother, the tzaras are mutter. So he never heard these two concepts. Mishnah's on the page before. Chazar Mar, then Rabbi Yossi Reneg say, you know what? In the Shmir. Rabbi Yirmi, of course, heard the Mishnah. And of course heard Rabbi Chia said. But it's like a person who heard something, knows it exists, but asks a question on it anyway. And it's asking a question, the question is not answered. Why is there no tzara minashuk? Even though the Mishnah says there isn't, he's asking why not. Now, the next question is a very cool Lumdisha question. Rabbi Yirmi Aboy. Rabbi Yirmi asks questions as follows. Ha-ba'al tzara. So he has relations with a tzara. Ma'u she'chayiv le'em mishum eshesach. Is he chayiv on the tzara because of eshesach? That's a crazy question. Nobody knows what's flying here. Of course you're chayiv on eshesach. If your brother had two co-wives, one of which is Aser, and the other is Mutter, but since one is Aser, they're both Aser. So there's no Yibum, there's no Chalita. You have relations with her, what do you transgress? Of course you transgress Eshesach. You're having relations with your brother's wife, Shalom Mokum Yibum. There's no answer for that. So what's Rabbi Yirmi's question? It's explicit psukim, right? This portion, of course you're not allowed to, there's Eshesach. Right?
If the guy died?
He's still alive. Is he still alive?
No, he's dead. No. Reuven have relations with Shimon, his brother's wife, after Shimon's demise. However, Shimon's other wife was, let's say, Reuven's daughter or Reuven's mother-in-law, so therefore they're both usher to him. So nevertheless, Rabbi Yirmi is asking whether there's a concept of Eshesach here or not. Okay? It's a very, very strange question. And Rabbi Yossi says, what are you talking about? Rabbi Yossi, Ilu Efshar L'Tzara below Eshesach Yos. It was possible to conceive of the whole concept of Tzara without it being a brother's wife. That would be possible. But Efshar L'Eshesach below Tzara, is it possible to have an Eshesach without the concept of Tzara? Efshar L'Tzara below Eshesach? Is it possible to have Eshesach, a Tzara without Eshesach? In other words, they come together. The whole concept of Tzara, as we just said a few minutes ago, was created just in order to tell you the parameters of Yibum, when it applies and when it doesn't apply. So therefore, it's not possible to conceive of Rabbi Yirmi's question being correct. Of course there's Eshesach. The concept of Tzara comes up in Eshesach. So it's a very strange discussion. And Rabbi Yirmi seems correct that Rabbi Yirmi's question doesn't start. So let me tell you a lumdus. The great lumdus here. The lumdus is as follows. I'm making this up as I go along, but I think it's good. The lumdus is as follows. We learned previously to tonight that there's a basic hakira in Hilchos Chalitza. The basic hakira in Hilchos Chalitza, which Yerushalmi asked, is Chalitza a p'tur or a kinyan? What does it mean that Chalitza is a p'tur or a kinyan? If Chalitza is a p'tur, and the way the Rosh Hashanah is that it's contingent on how you learn Zika. Zika means relationship Shin Yavam Yavam beforehand. If Chalitza is a p'tur, that means there was Zika. Zika was a real thing. It's a situation of issues between the Yavam and Yavama. Chalitza comes and takes it away, patters it up. If Chalitza is a kinyan, it means Zika is nothing. Zika is a limbo, which is an effect of the mitzvah, which they have to do either Chalitza or Yibum. But really it's Chalitza or Yibum, which is primary, and Zika is just a limbo status till you get there. You see the difference? If Chalitza P'tur is it ends a previous state, Chalitza is a kinyan, really there is no state previously except, some strange in the undefined state called Zika. But the real issue is where you're going to do the mitzvah. And the mitzvah is expressed in one of two ways. Either the mitzvah of Yibum, which is a true kinyan, or Chalitza, which is a kinyan and a release b'vas achas. But really, the Yerushalmi describes it as Chalitza being a kinyan. Now, Rabbi Yossi earlier in the Masechta and Daf Gimel and Daf Talmud Beis, Rabbi Yossi said Chalitza is a p'tur. Which means, what does Rabbi Yossi hold about Zika? Rabbi Yossi holds that Zika is real, right? And that means Rabbi Yossi holds, where does Eshesach fall off? Where you don't have a problem with Eshesach? Where there's Zika. Right? But where one of the wives was an Erva, there is no Zika. Since there is no Zika, so therefore Eshesach falls off. Eshesach remains, excuse me. Again, what takes away the Eshesach issue? The fact, according to Rabbi Yossi, the fact that now you have Zika. Zika shows that there's a relationship between the Yavam and the Yavama, which transcends the problem of Eshesach, eliminates it, and replaces it. And now it's almost as if she automatically became the wife of the second guy. Not quite, because you still need the Yibum to be claimed, but it's almost automatic as if she's wife of the second guy. There is no Eshesach problem. But that's only true if there's Zika. Right? Says Rabbi, and Chalitza is a p'tur of that Zika. But in this case, where one of the co-wives, one of the tzaros was an erva, there is no Zika. So what is there when there is no Zika? When there's no Zika to supplant the previous state remains. What was the previous state? Eshesach. So then Rabbi says, of course she's an Eshesach. What's the shiur? There's no question about it. But Rabbi Yirmiyah holds Chalitza is a kinyan. I would say Rabbi Yirmiyah holds Chalitza is a kinyan. What does that mean, Chalitza is a kinyan? It means until the Chalitza of the Yibum, there really was nothing. There was an amorphous state called Zika. According to him, Zika is not what we really understand Zika to be. It's just a limbo state until you get to the Chalitza or Yibum. But really, what the mitzvah of the Torah is, what takes off the Eshesach is not Zika, but is Chalitza or Yibum when it occurs. So really, until he does the Chalitza or the Yibum, she is an Eshesach. Just that then Chalitza even comes and says, okay, now she's no longer Eshesach because of the mitzvah you did in her, whether it's Chalitza or Yibum. So Shaila is, maybe Chalitza or Yibum is effective in taking off the Isser of Eshesach, even if one of the co-wives is an erva. That's really his question. In other words, he's saying again, if it's Zika, that state, which takes off the Isser of Eshesach, so of course that doesn't apply where one of the co-wives is an erva. But if it's not the state of Zika which does it, but rather the act of Chalitza or Yibum, it's true there's no requirement to do Chalitza or Yibum in this woman, right? Because one of the two wives is an erva, right? One of the co-wives is an erva. But maybe nevertheless, since it's a case which is similar to a case where Chalitza or Yibum is required, and maybe a Chalitza or Yibum has some sort of effect. What effect would it have? Not the effect, of course, of actually, L'hakim, Shem Ames or whatever, but at least that she no longer be an Isser of Eshesach. at least not in Issachar. Perhaps the Issachar is downgraded, and therefore he won't be chayav koros for having relations with her. So that's Rabbi Yirmiyah's question. Again, Rabbi Yirmiyah's question is based on the assumption chalitza is a kinyan. The act itself determines everything. So therefore maybe, and evil of course is a kinyan as well. So therefore maybe if you have bia with the Eishasach, and maybe that in and of itself, even though it's not permissible in this case, but maybe in and of itself that downgrades the prohibition from Eishasach to something less. But according to Rabbi Yossi, it's the Zika which downgrades the Eishasach Isser. If there's no Zika, then the Eishasach Isser remains in place, and therefore, of course, there's no question to ask. We mainly are going to be over Eishasach no matter what. Okay. We'll start. I hope that was worthwhile coming for. Certainly would have made it easier for me to say that you were here. And there's a certain siyata d'shmaya which you have when more than one person is listening what you have to say. So that's hopefully you rubbed off a little bit. Anyway, we'll stop here for this evening.